welcome to the Sanctuary, a safe space to speak from the heart. I'm your host, Israel, and my guest today is my friend, super talented filmmaker, Ebi Ikuku. Thanks for coming to the Sanctuary today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. The
Yeah,
moment you
yeah.
told me you wanted me to have me on here, I was so excited to come here.
Oh man, thanks. Okay, wait. Before we came on, we're just talking of like music videos. So just want to continue on that. Like
No
I was
worries.
just saying, right? Like I find that, when someone is making a music video, right? Or actually let's start with the song himself. Like I'm an artist, I'm writing this song. I'm kind of telling a story, right? And then there's
Yes.
nothing that frustrates me when now they now take this video and they now take this music and make a video for it, and it's just like, girls dancing,
Yes.
somebody's, like, I mean, give me like a little
A
short film.
story.
Yeah.
Exactly. Even if there's no story, even if it's not narrative, I've seen a lot of abstract music videos where there's no story, but it's very experimental.
you
And there's
know
still stories within those ones.
that is what I like about Michael Jackson, right?
Michael!
Just 2 or 3 days ago, I don't know what's happening, but I was listening to one of my best Michael Jackson songs. Who is it? Do you know this song?
Who is it?
Yes.
Somebody help my soul.
yes. The music video is great. Like
I
the
haven't
music
seen the
video is
music video.
great. And like when I was a kid watching it, or not a kid, when I was younger watching it, and I was like, oh man, this is nice. But then I watched it just a few days ago and it's stunning, it's brilliant, it's
Right.
amazing. And then I found out that it's David Fincher that made it. That
Oh,
David Fincher made
I
the
see.
music video for who is in it. It's like,
Who is
well,
it?
yeah, it typically it makes complete sense, man. Like the video is so good, and the story is like, he loves this girl, but this girl, like, she's a working girl, like she's a what's it? What does she do? Anyway, but like from the video, you can kind of suspect what they're saying, like her job is.
Yes.
Anyway, so but he loves this girl, and this girl kind of dresses up each time she meets like a client, and like she has like a different name for each client. And then Michael Jackson now gets on his helicopter, flies away, and the girl like leaves her life, now comes to, be like, oh, I'm here for you, but he's gone. And like the housekeeper guy just like, hey, listen, I have all the receipts, just hands over like all the many different names she's been, over the course of this. Anyway, it's really nice, you should see it. And I'm like,
I'll watch
why
it.
don't people make music videos these days like this? Like, what's his name? Drake just had a video the other day. Well, not like, a couple of days ago. Like, it's gonna make millions and millions of views on YouTube, of course, but it's like, okay, what's happening? So like there's he's in a Mercedes, and then the Mercedes drives towards a plane, and then people are dancing, like, anyway.
That's their world. That's the world of entertainment.
But
They're
let's talk
painting a
about
vivid
you.
picture.
So yeah, let's talk about you. How did you like get into filmmaking, and what's the journey that brought you so far?
That's always the first question people ask me. And it's a very long, it's a question that has a long response. So I'll try to make it as short as possible. But I grew up in Nigeria. I'm Nigerian, as you know, and I grew up watching a lot of Nigerian movies, Bollywood movies, and even Asian movies. And at the time, the Nollywood, fancifully known Nollywood, Nigerian's film industry was booming at the time. And it wasn't as popular as it is today, obviously, taking into consideration the internet and streaming platforms. People didn't have access to our movies as they do now. So we would go to like clubs. They used to call it video clubs. So I grew up watching a lot of Nigerian movies. Then I didn't know that I wanted to be a storyteller. However, I didn't know I wanted to be a filmmaker. I didn't even know what that was. I just knew that I would watch movies. It was well put together, and I always had questions like, okay, so they're in one scene. How do they have all these cameras from all these angles? Now I went to film school. I know how they do that. So I'm not only a filmmaker. I'm also a musician. I would say all my gifts and talents and all my entertainment passions started. I discovered most of it at church. I grew up in a very small town in Warri called Warri. So my mom would always take us to church. That's where I discovered I could sing and I could act. So I've always had some sort of like, I've had this thing like you have to give back to God, you have to give back to the church because that's where you discovered your passion. And then I continued with life. My father asked me when I was very young what I wanted to be when I grow up, and I said a lawyer at age 8 because, as you know, growing up in Nigeria, when you're in school, the educational charts that they hang around the classrooms, you only see jobs like engineering, doctor. So I never really saw anything for myself. The closest thing to what I saw myself doing would be law. And I went abroad after I finished my high school education in Nigeria. I went to the UK. I was still following the law path for my dad to make him happy. But while in England, I started to audition for little like web series, like short web series, audition for minor characters. I got turned down a lot. But then finally someone said yes to me. And then I went, we filmed. While she was directing us, I was like, okay, so this is a Black woman director. I was just starting to discover what this directing thing is about. So I kept asking questions on the set and trying to take over the set. How about we do it this way? How about we do it this way? She was very angry with me. She was like, excuse me, can you just focus on your... Then I was a novice, right? I was 16 years old when I moved to the UK. Yeah. So I started to learn, okay, so when I concluded that shoot, I went back home and I did my research. Something told me like, do your research on film schools and see what comes up. So I found the New York Film Academy. As I mentioned at the time, I was in London, but New York Film Academy is very good at marketing. So they have like short seminars in Italy, London, France, everywhere. So after my encounter with them, talking about the curriculum in the school and what kind of programs they offer and the opportunities students have been afforded once they graduate, I was like, this sounds like something I should do. So I applied for a short 4-week program, came to LA, and before then I had never felt such at peace in my soul when I started to direct. When I came for the 4-week, it was a very short program, but it definitely was an answer to a question I've been asking myself for a long time. So do I just want to do music? So after that, yeah, that's the very short, long story.
Yeah, no. Let's talk about those 4 weeks in Los Angeles. Also, isn't Los Angeles fucking hot, man? It's so hot. How do you guys cope with that heat, one, and the traffic, too?
The traffic is not that bad. I grew up in
Nigeria.
My God. The traffic is not terrible. Well, if you visit Lagos, which is the most populous city in all of Africa, and you experience that traffic, and then you sit in an LA traffic that is for like 10 minutes, you seem like someone who is, a third world, like first world problems, right? First world problems. Secondly, it's not that hot. I also grew up in Nigeria, I mean, Nigeria was also very hot. Sometimes it will rain, but I mean, last night it was shivering cold. The weather has been very bipolar. Before, more signs we've been seeing of global warming, Los Angeles used to be just hot. And then in December, it would be a little cold. And then after January, it will get back to being hot. But now it's a little bipolar. It's like London weather, hot and cold.
Oh, weird. So how were the 4 weeks that when you did this New York Film Academy stuff?
Definitely very eye-opening, as I said, because at the time I was studying. When I came to LA for the 4-week program, I came during one of my summer breaks because at the time I was in England studying my bachelor's in journalism. But something said, like, even at the time I got to do an internship with BBC when I was doing my first degree in journalism, but I said to myself, I don't see myself working in like a newspaper room. I don't see myself working in radio. In the future, I would like to have my own magazine, but that was pretty much it, and do some online multimedia expressions of myself or whatever content I want to put out in the future. But the 4 weeks, firstly, I wasn't alone. One of my high school best friends that also had a passion for filmmaking attended that 4 week program. So it was two Nigerian girls trying to see if this is a thing that they love. And then during that short program, I met one of my forever best friends. Her name is Mira Hamor. She's from Toronto. She's a documentarian. I met this girl, phenomenal photographer. So I got to meet, even within 4 weeks, I was exposed to people from different countries, Brazil, France, people I'm still in touch with. So that's the thing about the New York Film Academy and traveling far away to chase your dreams, because you never know what you'd get in return by leaving your safe space. Because my parents weren't initially supportive of me coming to LA. They were like, oh, all we know about LA is that people do drugs and marijuana, so don't go there. But people do drugs in Nigeria and people do drugs in London,
right.
They were just upset that they couldn't control my life as much as they were doing when I was in the UK, because England is just 6 hours away from Nigeria. So when I was living there, my father never...
Think of that. Yeah.
My father will never tell us when he's coming to see us. He will just pop in because it was just 6 hours away.
Okay, I see what you mean. Because, like, yeah, you actually have to plan to come here. Because you have to go to Europe first before you come to North America most of the times. I mean, there are some direct flights, but still, you know, it's a long flight.
It is. I definitely stopped in Boston first and then came to LA. Yeah, it was a fun 4 weeks. That was the week those 4 weeks solidified for me that filmmaking is more than a passion, it's my gift. Because I didn't have to do much to know how to do this thing, you know?
Okay, so did you like end up making a film? What was like? Do you have like a final project film type thing you made for this 4 weeks?
That's one of the things about the New York Film Academy, and one of the reasons I even went to the school in the first place. They have a very broad and vast curriculum. In fact, there were times when I felt so overwhelmed because we'd go to school on Saturdays and Sundays, Monday through Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, you know, it was a lot. But sorry, I sort of missed your question.
No. I'm like, did you have like a final project coming out of this 4 weeks?
Exactly. So that's what I was saying. So they give us so much homework, and most times weekly we had to turn in filmmaking assignments. So within those 4 weeks, I had to turn in 4 different assignments. One of it was a music video. One of it was narrative. One of it was like a film camera. It was the first time I shot on a 35 millimeter. So I have this little film project, and we got to collaborate. Yeah, I think we got to have 2 narratives, 1 music video, and 1 film project. It was. I still have those clips. Yeah.
That is insane, man. I'm so lazy. I think I would have dropped out.
No, it was 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's a lot. First off, so you have to come up with the concept.
Yes.
Write it, find people, shoot it, edit it. Oh no, man.
But it's a film school. There are different departments. So
Fair
most
enough.
times if you're looking for actors, you just go to the acting department.
So, I guess, like, did you, before you did the New York film thing, did you actually make a film? Not like be part of it, but like direct or produce anything before you did this course?
Never. I can't say that I'd ever made a movie before I went to the New York Film Academy. I'd never directed anything. Of course, I'd made little clips, like when I travel to wherever on my summer vacations as a child, I would sometimes carry my camera and film clips on the airplane and all of that. But some would say that's filmmaking. I would say those are the earlier steps of filmmaking.
Yeah. So now in this taking this course, right? What were the projects that you end up with? Like, what was the music video you made, and how was the experience for each one?
The experience for each one. So, as we know, filmmaking is a people business. So, you're not just working with yourself, you're working with other people. So, no two projects are the same. And a huge reason why that is a fact is because you're not always going to work with the same people on the same projects. Sometimes you might have great chemistry with some collaborators, but they're not always going to be available to work with you. So I remember I definitely had some difficult times. There were some difficult classmates and people you didn't want to be paired up with, but you didn't want to feel, but there was like 10 of us. So it was just 4 weeks. We had to get shuffled, So
Yeah.
I definitely went into that program with a very open mind. I went in there saying, I want to, because the idea was I would go for 4 weeks, and if I like it, I will return for a Master's of Fine Arts degree. I didn't just want to start a fine arts program, Master's in filmmaking, without testing the waters first. So that's what I did. And each experience was joyful, some of it annoying, but it's always a joy to make films.
Right. Okay, so you finish this thing and you're like, all right, I'm going to get my master's now. And did you do it?
Yes. First, I flew back to London to complete my bachelor's. I was in my 3rd year at the time. Graduated. 3 days after my graduation, I packed all my things and I said goodbye to London.
And then moved to LA. How was that move for you?
Well, I wasn't alone. My mom is my backbone, literally. After Jesus is my mom. It's my backbone. So she travels everywhere with me. If I said today, Mom, I'm moving to Rome, she's going to be on a plane to come help me.
Where is she based?
Nigeria.
And then oh my God. Well, see, that's the thing about the love of a mom, eh?
Yes, she's a real mama. Like, she's a mama bear. Don't mess with her kids.
Okay, so you moved to Los Angeles, and then you now start this MFA thing. I don't like school, but let's talk about being masters in film, masters of fine arts. I'm guessing your focus was film, right?
My focus was filmmaking. However, it was a well curtailed program because we're also exposed to production design, for instance, and set dressing. They also taught us how to work with a camera. So if I wanted, I could be a cinematographer right now because of the program. They also taught us how to write. But as you know, the focus was filmmaking. So after I graduated with my MFA in filmmaking, I'd had to go learn how to write even more by reading other scripts, because film school can't teach you everything about film. Some teachers see you as future competition, so they can't give you all their wisdom.
You can't say that about teachers. Come on.
No. This is a fact in film school. I don't know about other teachers.
Yes. They'll be like, I'm not going to teach this person everything because they're going to take my job.
They don't say it, obviously. But smart students decode what they're trying to say. Because sometimes, typically it's with questions involving financing or distribution. Not all teachers.
Motherfuckers. But,
I don't think it's a motherfucker thing. I think it's a personal thing because some teachers gave us everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those people are just evil, man. Personally to me, I think that if I know something, I'm just gonna share it, right? At the end of the day, if I was supposed to get something, I would get it. It is not because I know something the person doesn't know. Knowledge just wants to be shared. I think that's how I see knowledge, right? If I know something, I'm just gonna share it. How one person is gonna apply that knowledge is always gonna be different from how I apply it. So.
People are different, right? And I think that comes with a huge form of insecurity to think somebody will take, because you're a teacher, paying you to teach us, right, about the business. But not all teachers were like that, I would say.
So, but for how many years was your MFA?
2 years.
Yeah,
September 2015 to September 2017.
in that 2 years, you made a lot of films, I'm guessing. Why you shaking?
In that two
Was it that
years,
bad?
it was very hectic. It was a
Oh my
lot.
god.
And you had to raise the funds to make your films as well. The
Wait,
major thing they
what?
helped us with was cameras. Then you have to, so that is outside of the 40K plus that you pay per year to be in the program. Then you obviously you need accommodation money. And then you also need spare money because every semester we have to shoot something. And it's, the more into the program we got, the more intense it became.
So, so you're based in Los Angeles, but like you're a student. When you're working with like actors and people in unions, actually, first off, did you get to work with like actors or people or crew members that were the union? And if you did, was there like a special, I guess, rebate that you'd pay like half price or less than what they'd usually get?
With the people in union, you never get anything about half price or anything. There's never discounts involved in the Los Angeles unions. And that involves the writing guild union and even the directing unions.
Wow.
Because these unions are set in place to ensure that their members are not taken advantage of. So they're not going to be giving out discounts for their members. So, for instance, if you want to work with a union actor during the pandemic, it's required that you have a COVID compliance officer who is someone that just stands on the set and tells everybody to wear their mask, but you pay $250 a month. So when you're working with union actors and union things in general, typically it's the big boys and girls that like to work with union actors because they can afford them. And they're usually the more professional actors. Non-union actors are professional too, but you can beg them to stay extra hours on set and there will be no charge. But if you say a union actor is going to be on set for 10 hours and then he exceeds 2 hours, you have to pay them for those extra 2 hours.
So, in the films you've made so far, I'm guessing you've worked with some people from the union, right?
Of course.
So,
Union,
which did you
yeah.
prefer though? Union, non-union? All things considering, let's say money wasn't an issue.
To be honest, I've worked with more non-union actors in my projects because I've had two semi-big projects where I've spent quite a lot of money. And one of it was a pilot trailer for a series that I want to produce in the future. And the other one was my thesis film, graduating from the New York Film Academy. When I work with union actors, most times it's not even planned. It just happens. I see the person, like the person comes in for an audition, for instance, and no one else is a better auditioner. You have to go with that person, right? So it's just about finding what works for you at that given time and per project.
So, you take all these different courses at New York Film Academy, writing and cinematography and all that jazz. Did you like find a niche for yourself in filmmaking? Like, which of the things did you feel most comfortable? Which of the roles did you feel most comfortable in?
Oh, out of everything we're exposed to, definitely directing.
Oh,
Definitely
okay.
directing. I also enjoyed production designing, most specifically set dressing. So that's like a set designer. But people who say, okay, they read the script, okay, the person in the script is a rich man and he just murdered his wife and he's a psychopath. So you go find the kind of furniture and things in the person's space. I love to do that as well. But my main thing is why I went there, directing.
Why
I don't like to do
directing?
anything else because um, I don't want to say directing has really nothing to do with bossing people around, but I like to tell people what to do. right? Ever since I was
Yeah.
small, I like to boss people around. But this is business, so I don't boss people around. But based on my temperament and knowing that this is something God has blessed me with, this gift of directing. Because to be a director, you're essentially the captain of a ship.
Yeah.
So if anything happens, like you have a lot of you have a lot to answer basically. So you're the captain. You have to stay focused because everyone's watching you. If the director is happy, like after every take, if the director is smiling, everyone is smiling. But if the director is not happy, no one's happy. So it's a lot of responsibility, but I enjoy it. I actually
Yeah.
enjoy it. I really enjoy it. I don't know.
So, which one would you prefer? Directing directing a film someone else has written, or someone else directing a film you've written?
Directing something someone else has written.
So, like, you feel comfortable writing this thing and then giving it to someone else to direct it?
No, I said the opposite.
Oh. No. Wait. I think I asked the wrong question. So, like, I'll ask it in one. How do you feel about writing something and then having someone else direct it?
I haven't done that before, and in the future, I think it would be something where if I'm giving someone a script to say direct this, it would be because I'm going to be the lead actress or something in the film, and I don't want to wear both hats. Because I recently did that, and I didn't like the entire outcome of the project. I like.
What didn't you like about it?
So when you're directing and then you're acting, there's no one to tell you if you're doing good enough because you can't see yourself on the screen, on the monitor screen. And it takes more time because when you're directing and acting as well, you're directing everyone, people are asking you questions. Then now you have to remember your own lines and fix your own face. But it's hard. Only a few people like Tyler Perry do that. And a lot of people are starting to complain about the quality of his films as well, because that's something that catches up when you, in filmmaking, if you wear too many hats, you're going to crash. And it would definitely depreciate the value of whatever you're trying to put out.
Okay, so let me twist it a little bit more. You wrote the film, you're not going to be the lead actor or whatever. Will you still let someone direct that film?
Unless it has to be a director that I like.
Yeah, I'm like you, man. I can't write something and give someone.
Someone will because then you're giving them the power. It then becomes the director's cut.
I can't. Oh my god, I cannot.
Because I don't know. Because for one, I already know they're not going to do it in the way I will do it.
Right.
And I mean per scene, like every scene is going to be different. Yeah. That includes the color that they use.
Every
like
single shot,
designer.
even. You know,
every single shot.
Right, you write something, you saw something when you're writing it, and now you give this person, and the person sees something else, right? Oh man.
Yes. Then it's no longer my project anymore.
Yo, they have to pay me.
That would have to be exactly. That would have to be like a script I'm not that passionate about.
Right, they have to pay me a ton of money to do that. I'm like, okay, fine, I don't care. It's okay. Ooh,
then I'll go rewrite it. Like change a lot about it. The story.
Right.
Same genre.
Yeah. Okay, so directing, like, you know, you have all that responsibility and the buck stops with you. How do you approach directing? Let's say now you got the script, whether you wrote it or whether someone gave it to you or however you got it, you're like, shoot, this is a great film, somebody gave you money, go make this film. What is your approach when it comes to directing?
So first things first, I would like to point out that I've never directed a feature. I haven't directed a feature film yet, but I've done everything else, like music video, fashion film, not even commercials, but yes, I've done mostly short films, narrative. My process, of course, starts with reading the story over and over again, and then starting to think of potential lead actors, because I've shared quite a lot of my journey since entering the field. So I have a lot of actors in my catalog. So chances are most times when I write, I already have an actor that can play that role. It's just about if they're available or not, or if I change my mind. So you read it, start thinking about potential. This is a ready script, by the way. Otherwise, you also have to go through the process of editing that script. But it's ready. Then I start thinking of my go-to producers, my line producers, people that will find locations, people that will help me with hiring all the other crew members, doing paperwork, because those are things I don't like. And it's LA, so you have all these like permits.
Yeah.
Like I said, like if you're a student and you want to shoot a film in LA, it's $25 for permit. But if you're an independent business, it's $600. So you find the producer, then the producer comes in and starts. Once the producer is hired, the film is like halfway done, because then they're basically helping you with all the hard bits. Then you find your assistant director, production designer. Then you also have to think like, what kind of story is this? Is this a period piece? You have to get a production designer that's familiar with the world of the story, so they know what props to rent and buy. Production designer, then cinematographer. Who is going to shoot this? What camera are we going to use? You know, is it a story that needs a big camera package, or is this something that can be shot on an iPhone? Because of how good the story is, something can still come out of it. Because there's a film, is it Orange or something? But there was a film that was entirely shot on an iPhone, and it won massive awards 5 years ago in LA. So that's my process.
And then you get to the set, then what?
Get to the set, and I wear my hat, and I ensure that I don't take it off until the project is over. Until I walk out of that set and drive home, then I can take off the hat, because you have to keep things professional.
Yeah.
From your arrival till the end, because like I said, you're a director, so people can falsely accuse you of things.
Yeah. Let's say it's a project where you know, you didn't write it, or when you're writing it, you didn't really think of who was going to play a certain role, or any role, in fact. Now it comes to casting. How do you go about when you want to cast an actor?
So you hold a fair audition so that you can get the very best opportunity to find the right character or the right person. And sometimes you have to hold 3 different auditions in 3 different locations. But I've held casting auditions in LA, in casting rooms. So there are a bunch of people at the corridor, and people just walk in. And obviously you put it online. There are websites for that in LA Casting, Casting Network, Mandy.com. So all these sites, actors are submitting themselves every day, and their agents are also doing that for them. And so they look at the sides, you call it sides, bits from the script, that because you don't want them to look at the whole story before they go and steal your story, right? And the actors submit their tape. And then obviously this is a good question you're asking me, because there's pre-COVID casting and then there's post-COVID casting. The industry has changed. Everything is going online now. So you better just hope that you're an actor that is good with self-tapes, because that's one of the main ways people are being scouted nowadays. Some actors struggle with that. They used to prefer when they come into the casting room and then, you know, they greet, "Hi, I'm bloody, bloody, blah, and I'm here to read the role of Bimbo," or whatever. And then you read. And then if you want to know, most times the actor I would hire is someone that has range. So after they do their first performance, you ask them, can you do this in a different way from how you did it? So if their motivation was to, I don't know what motivation to use, but can they do it in a different way to see if they can bring something new that you weren't even thinking of? And then it's like, wow, this person has brought something different to the character I didn't even think of. That's the person. Some people just walk in confidently, and I'm like, that's the person.
They've not even opened their mouth yet.
They've not opened their mouths. Some people walk in confidently, like, that's my role, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, right. So
I
let's
mean, they
talk
still have
about
to audition, but yeah.
right. Let's talk about now you've cast the person. What is your approach when it comes to the relationship between the director and the actor?
I like it to be as personal as possible. I like actors I work with to be my friends, not best friends, because there's business and there's professional. So these aren't people I would invite to. I've been learning the past 3 years the real importance of why you should compartmentalize your friends and collaborators in your life. So there are people you see on sets, but you don't see them anywhere else. There are people that you work with them on sets, but you can invite them to your house for house parties if you're having get-togethers because they're cool and nice people. But I like it to be as personal as possible. So typically, if I like an actor, we notify them. The next thing would be coffee. Let's go for coffee. I would typically pay. What do you want? Let's have lunch. Just from there, what they order informs you about who this person is, and you can already start looking for ways to involve that into the character. Say the script says that person is having a breakfast of potatoes, but you're having breakfast with the person out. You see them eating French toast. You're like, this could be interesting. It's all about the little things, right? Because actors are shapeshifters. They're pretending to be people, but we're all people, so we do the same things differently. And so coffee, they start talking about their history, and then I can see how that can also inform the character. Like some actors would be like, oh, I hate my mom. My mom is a narcissist. How about we make this character's mom a narcissist? Or, you don't also want something to trigger the actor. You don't want it to be too personal. Just asking God for wisdom and
Yeah, so that actually touch on a subject that say there's a character in your film and the scene is traumatic and you this is I doubt this would ever happen, especially with how you form relationships with your actors. But like say you didn't know, you wrote this really triggering scene in your film and they nailed it in auditions, and come on the day of the shooting something sets them off right on the set. How do you handle that?
we have to pause and breathe. And then you have to get through to the actor. And from what I've been, actually, you said I had no idea. So typically an actor should say something because they should have gotten the script before we have to shoot it. So you would hope that that kind of relationship and bridge has been built. Secondly, you have to find a way for the actor to get out of that zone that they're stuck in and find a way to help them get that same emotion they have or the right emotion you want, but without the extra things. So at acting school, because I'm presently in acting school, in 2019, one of my acting lecturers, she was teaching us how to cry on cue. Oh. And it had to do with the muscles in your stomach and your imagination. Because she said she highly against people using personal situations to help them get somewhere with their characters, because sometimes it can be triggering and it will trigger you sometimes. So like an actress is playing someone who gets an abortion and that actress has had an abortion. I would expect that actor to bring it up, but if it doesn't happen and we're on set and now the actor is crying, then everyone has to pause. Those that don't have to be in the room have to leave so the actor feels safe. You just have to make that person feel safe again. Try to help them let go of all that, as I said, and try a different route. Through music, maybe, I'm open to a lot on my set to help actors get to the places I want them to get.
It's always great to see when directors actually care for their actors, because when you read of how some directors treat actors, like putting them in traumatic situations or like getting them like actually physically slapped just to get that emotion or to rile them up or to know the person is afraid of birds and then you throw birds at them because I mean, will it look good on camera? Yeah, but like holy shit, this person is still a human being. So it's refreshing to see that we are building crops of directors that are actually fucking human beings. That's really
It's
welcome.
important for me. I mean, it's a people business. I don't want to be making my actors cry. I mean, I love it when actors want to work with me again and again and again because it makes my work easier because I already know you.
Yeah.
So I know your triggers, perhaps some of it. I mean, and I'm a journalist as well. So like I said, that's my first degree. So journalism has given me the ability to have strong communication skills and to know what questions to ask people when I'm in a room with the sharks, the big guys, and when I'm in rooms with upcoming artists like myself. It's all about being human and trying to find that human connection. Typically you have to look into people's eyes.
Oh no, that is very, very true. So let's talk about AB Film Productions. How did you set it up? Why did you decide to set it up? And how are things going now?
My LLC, I launched my LLC June 2020. I launched it a couple days after my birthday. I don't remember. But I was turning a year older, and I felt it was time to make a stronger move in my business. Secondly, I've been in America for 5 years. I've been going to school, and I felt like it was time to launch something more concrete in the country so the government can see that I have interest in staying for longer in the future. So I registered my company and I'm paying my taxes, even though we're not making that much sales, because our industry has been one of the ones that have been really affected because it's a people business. And when we're filming on sets, COVID, right? And people found their way around things. They were doing things where it's just one person being shot or sending the camera crew and lights and everything to people's houses to record themselves. All of that was a little weird. Like for me, I would rather just push projects to later years than to...
Yeah.
I don't know. Everything is new for everyone, but AB Film Productions, I want to take a larger step forward in my field. I wanted the government to see I'm a serious person. And I actually intended to launch the company in Nigeria, but I didn't know the process for that. So I'm in America at the moment, so I said, why not launch it in America? And I can operate all across America, but it's registered in California.
Awesome. So at least when vaccines are done and life is kind of back to normal, at least I know when I'm coming to Los Angeles who I'm going to be working for.
Woo! Just let me know what you want to do. What job?
Let's
position.
talk about Rookie. So I watched the pilot and it is expensive, right?
Yeah.
I watched it. I was like, this is a lot of money in this thing.
I have a lot of regrets about how much money I spent. Because I didn't spend every money that was written on paper. Like I didn't spend. So I hired a line producer, as I mentioned. I typically work with line producers because of everything I was doing at the time and all the stress I was experiencing because we're working with Chief OB. We had to fly him in. Before we found the lead actress, I was in contact with this Nigerian-British actress in Nigeria, and she was in London, and she was being a total diva, telling us she only flies business class. And this is someone that I could just tell had never flown business class in her life before. Just all those excess younger, there are enough divas in the industry. We don't need any more divas,
Right.
Both male and female. So Rookie was stressful, but basically what I'm saying is a lot of my money got stolen by the people that I put in charge. because I later did my calculations and a lot of things wasn't adding up. But you
Oh,
know,
you
like
can
it,
only count what is written into the budget. It is not about what is spent. So the person puts
the person like
$5 here, but spent $10 there or something.
the person
Sorry. Put $10
$50 here, but spent
but
$5.
yeah,
Like that's how bad I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean,
The flip.
it was
Yeah.
my fault because my mom kept telling me you should be involved in this process. You should not give anybody the money, but I was being overly trusting, and I had worked with him before, so he's obviously stolen from me twice. And so if I'm being honest, I don't have any interest in working with that person anytime soon, because like I made it easy for him to steal from me by not asking questions or by handing him the money and saying, "Hey, produce for me." So henceforth, I take charge of that. And the last project that I didn't work with the guy that was in charge of the money, but I worked with people he had hired. And can you believe they were asking me, "Where's that guy? Where's that guy?" So I was like, "Oh, so when he steals, he shares with you guys."
I'm sorry. That is mean. Who is this? Well, I mean, I know you can't talk about
White
the
people,
person.
black people, Nigerian
Yeah,
people,
yeah, yeah. Oh
people from
man,
Spain.
I'm so sorry you experienced that, but like on the other hand, Rookie looks great. Like, for a pilot, it looks great. Let's not talk about the negative thing. Let's talk about the project itself. Why did you write it and why did you decide to make it?
Because Rookie is me. Rookie is about my life. The pilot shows a 21-year-old, an 18-year-old, sorry, coming into Los Angeles to study photography in LA, in one of the best film and photography schools. Then she crashes headfirst into a search for independence at a global level because she's in LA now. She's a virgin. I came to LA, I was 21, I was a virgin. And I was going to film school with 40-something-year-olds, 20-something-year-olds. A lot of them were very mean, but rather than mean, very mature. So there was a lot of politics involved and all of that. But Rookie's. So when you asked me earlier, would I write something and give it to someone to direct? This would be a good example. If I wanted Rookie to be a feature film, I wouldn't write it and give to someone else to direct because I don't know. I can give someone else control of my story because it's my story. Rookie is me, as I said. So, but aside from the stealing, it was an absolute freaking fun time. I got to work with Chief Obi, like I said. On Twitter, I got 30,000 views of the trailer. Like 30,000 people saw it. On YouTube, it has over 8,000 views. I got to be interviewed by Pulse, Nigeria. I made so many contacts. In fact, just in 2020/2019, I came really close to selling Rookie. But then I realized that I was about to be taken advantage of. My lawyer was a black man. He was black, Hispanic. And then he planned with the people that wrote the contract for Rookie. So essentially, they wanted to have more percentages than they should. And they wanted to be attached to the project for like 10 years. But they're just like they're just middlemen. So they're supposed to act as the middlemen to the distributors. So the people that wanted to screw me over are the ones that would take it to like Netflix or one of these people and say, hey, they're already even name dropping and saying this network is interested and this network is interested. But they want the entire content. Like they want episode 1, 2, 3. So the black lawyer told me, this contract is very beautiful. It's good. Sign it. Or something told me, get yourself another lawyer. So I actually signed it. I signed the contract. I was a little like desperate, if I'm being honest. Like I was also feeling rushed. Like, what's happening? Why isn't Rookie being picked? I thought I would just shoot the trailer like this and someone would buy it and I'd be a millionaire now, you know? But I lost my train of thought.
No, the contract.
Yes, the contract. So I went and hired another lawyer, and the lawyer said, "Abi, number one, they don't even name you as the owner of this project inside this contract. So they can't even say it's theirs. Number two, these people want to be attached to the project for 10 years. They are not the streaming platform. They're supposed to just help you take it to a streaming platform. So the contract should not be for longer than 3 years. Three, this your lawyer that told you should sign this and never work with him again because he literally was selling you to the wolves."
Wow.
So there is an unspoken rule, I suppose, in entertainment that the artist ought to be screwed over, but not this artist, and I'm not going to be screwed over. I will screw them over first.
Yeah. So, I mean, Rookie, like I said, I loved it. And when you wrote it, so you made this pilot, did you kind of have like the whole season or like the whole show planned? How many episodes, how many seasons did you plan for Rookie?
I just wrote 2 episodes, and then at the time I wasn't feeling very confident in my writing, not entirely. I was fresh out of graduate school, and like I said, they focused more on filmmaking, so how to direct more than how to write. So I did hire a co-writer to help me with the first episode, but I've written episodes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 since the people who wanted to screw me over requested that, but I haven't sent anything to them. Right now, I even have a new job, and essentially they help artists like myself to sell scripts if they like the story. Like, they would find a studio or streaming platform that is interested and help with the selling process. So those people are not my only hope. But my first lawyer definitely made me feel that way, like, sign it, this is a good contract, and I signed it. And but too many artists have been screwed over for this to still be happening. I was so disappointed in myself that I even signed it in the first place. I think the rule is just to not trust anyone.
Man, no, you can't live life like that. That's too difficult. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, because like almost everything you've made has had this kind of stain, but
no,
I think
just two. I've just had 2 experiences.
Yeah,
like
well,
that.
yeah, the two. But like, I think you've learned some things. You kind of know who to show contracts to, and at least you know who you shouldn't work with. So that's one. But like,
That's a win.
yeah, definitely. With Rookie again, why did he decide, to make that the title? Like, the title. Also, would you ever consider making the show? Or if it becomes a feature-length film, will you directing it and someone else in that character role?
Well, what's your last question? Sorry.
Like, would you consider directing Rookie with someone else playing Rookie?
Yes, I definitely wouldn't want to play Rookie because it would be too close to home. And secondly, a lot of the characters that you would see around Rookie are obviously inspired by real people. And most times, most characters that I have are inspired by real people. It's just what I do is I add 3 living people into one person and throw a bunch of fiction over the person, so they don't look exactly the same or sound exactly the same, so it's not obvious that I wrote about them. But Rookie, the title, it's an Urobo name. I'm from Nigeria, the former kingdoms I come from. I'm from Bayelsa State, and I'm from Delta. I'm Urubanijo. So there's an Urobo name called Rookie, Ruky. The full thing is Rukewe. The whole idea of the series is that we're dealing with an 18-year-old rookie, like Rookie. She's new, she's fresh, and she's about to be almost destroyed. So it was sort of like a play on words, using her Urobo name to say, okay, this girl is from Warri. I've never seen anyone represented from the city I come from globally. It's always Lagos. And yeah, that was why I decided to name it that. That was why I decided to shoot it. In fact, a huge part of the detail I omitted was that the contract problem. One of the reasons why I now became ahead of them was that the people that wanted to screw me over, they made a mistake in the contract. They wrote that Rookies is a feature, not a series. So I told them that if they don't rewrite the entire contract, then that contract stays for a feature, and I'm going to go make my series without them. So when they are ready to put what I want in the contract, so I did that, and yeah, I think those were all the questions you asked.
Yeah, no, okay. Every time I talk with you, I always have a nice time, and this is no different. So Rookies is something I really, really wanted to talk about, and I think I wanted to end my, to end it with that question, but I won't, because going on your personal Instagram, we say your art Instagram, anyway, one of the two Instagrams, you are doing this whole new thing on Trailer, not even TikTok. So why are you on Trailer, one, and why not using TikTok? And how do you even decide the dances you do?
How do I decide the dances I do? Well, firstly, why am I on Trailer instead of TikTok? TikTok allegedly has the most racist algorithm in all of social media history, meaning they only put like fairer people, mostly white people, at the top of their platform to say these are the stars, these are the most popular people. But what pisses me off the most is that on that app, they continue with that same cycle of stealing from Black artists, and then someone else reaping the money, calling us ghetto, but then doing the same thing, right? I think where it really hit for me was with the Jalila girl. There was this Black 17 or 16-year-old girl. She came up with this dance called the Renegade, and she uploaded it on another app. This white creator sees it, recreates it with her friends, and adds her mayonnaise sauce on it, like... People think she comes up with it. That's probably why we think it's cute at the beginning. But when you see the creator of the dance do it, you're like, oh, so they definitely stole this thing from her. These girls were touring, going on Lakers, NBA tours, performing like the dances, making money. And the girl was like, unknown. So everything came out, and it really triggers me. I think for me, it's a real deeper issue. I'm really trying to separate myself from the sheep-like Black people that stick to the status quo, which is this system that white people have created that says we are at the bottom. But in my world, I'm at the top. And my dances, how do I decide what to dance to? It has to be something I really love and something that speaks to me. So Davido, I started with Davido's K-Star. It was a South African artist, and Davido. I love the sound. I was just playing around. I'm just like, Adi Catch Cruise forget. And he reposted it. I'm like, okay, let me keep dancing, And the next video I uploaded was me dancing to Michael Jackson. And
dressed up even like Michael Jackson too.
That's my baby. That's Michael.
Yeah.
I mean, I could always dance, but it's just being someone that has over two talents and gifts, I come into that problem where I'm telling people things I do and they think I'm just blabbing and saying I do all these things. I don't really do them. So sometimes I shy away from some of my gifts, but one thing I don't want to do is bury any of my talent and not use it to glorify the giver of all gifts. So that when I meet him, I'm like, everything you gave me, I used it to. I used it to uplift people. I used it to inspire people. So that's just my goal. I just want to inspire people to live a better life and to be joyful and to find peace like I have.
Oh, man. Ebi, you know what? It just occurred to me that we've been talking, I've not even talked about your music side yet. We've just been talking about film. So we have to come back together to just talk about the music thing. I want to say thank you so much for coming to the sanctuary today and for sharing as much as you shared. And and I really, 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 really hope Rookie becomes something, because it looks so good.
It will. My prediction is that it will end up on HBO or Netflix.
Nice.
Because you saw recently Coming to America came out. The reason why I came up with Rookie is because I've never actively seen myself being represented, or accurately seen myself as an African being represented on television. I know the idea is that a lot of us are poor. Some of us got lucky and worked really hard. Some of us is parents and made something for themselves in a corrupt system outside of politics. And so I just wanted to show what that lifestyle is like, and just being on the other side of the spectrum. Of course, also call out corrupt politicians in Nigeria, because I go to school with their children and they're just like spending the nation's wealth and like bragging, and I'm like, your parents are thieves,
Ebi, oh my God, your problem.
I am. But they don't beat me,
Oh man, thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm excited to come back. Just let me know what day and I'll be on here.